Carrie?
Happy Sunday.
Yippee. Hopefully you guys can hear us okay. We got the
Yeah,
big,
fan. All right.
big fan over there blowing. It's hotter than hail.
Hey, James.
John McGinnis.
John,
Jay.
yeah.
What's up, James?
Hey, Jay.
So, let us know if you can hear us okay. We got the big fan on. It's hotter than hell in Jersey. I'm sure it's hot
Hey, Laura.
everywhere else, too, right now.
Seems like it was just yesterday when we saw a few of you.
It's a funny joke.
Thank you, Carrie. I will.
All right. So, Cindy, how are you? Paul, how you doing? Hello, Jason. Jason, you guys going to be at the bash? Is that NJB's biggest fan? No, that would be you, John McGinnis. Hello, Chris. Christine, how are you? Teresa, how you doing? So, we're debating about whether to come on tonight or not because we are tired. Saturday night events that, they end at midnight, but we usually don't wind up getting home till 2 or 3, and I don't get to bed till 4. So, it takes a lot out of you, especially this time of the year. So, we had a good one. Camp Edmonds. Never ever disappoints. We've been there many, many, many times. This is our first time back since the Great Tornado, which on Zappis, and I was curious to see what the activity was like, without a tornado, and a storm, and did not disappoint at all. Not for me anyway. Where I was. The cool thing about this time, what we did was normally we're kind of in kind of set spots when we do these events. Tornado warning. Well, careful there, Cindy. And this time we kind of mixed it up a little bit. The attic was way too hot. I usually like being up in the attic or down the hallway.
Up there. Hi, Veronica.
And I was like, you know what? Too hot in the attic. I'm going to set up shop in the second floor because shadow figures have been reported up there. I know Robert had a good time up there the last time they were with us. I've
worked up there many times and told you that there's a heaviness or a darkness that happens down through that hall. It's a little bit intimidating. I've had people on here that
hey, Ryan.
James has been with me before up there and had experiences up there on that second floor.
Hello, Deb. How are you? And Tanya went over to, they call it the volunteer or something or other. I call it the bunker house because there's all these bunk beds there that they use, and the reports over there was that
be safe there.
That they would see shadow figures in that building, and that people that would sleep there, the young kids, teenagers that would volunteer, they would see shadow figures and have their blankets pulled off of them. So, Tanya wanted to check that building out. I've been in there a few times. And we just, hey, let's mix it up. Let's try what we do in different areas and see the different results if they are different. And, I think we all had a good time in our different areas. And there are people here that were there, Jim Harris being one, Mark, Laura, a lot of people that watch on here. That's the cool thing too, Maritza, Sean. That's the cool thing too about our group and what we do and the people that kind of follow us is that, when we do these events, it is a chance not only to be with us and do the ghost hunt, whatever you want to call it. It's also a chance to meet other people that follow, and the names you see on there, the ones that are in Jersey. A lot of them do attend our events, so you get to see a face that you see the name and meet them. And I saw, Jim going back and forth with Mark and Maritza and Laura, and it was just really cool to see that. And that's kind of the reason why we came on.
Hey, Nikki.
Tonight was because Nikki's another one of those people.
Yeah, Laura said it was great.
It's that, I was reading all the comments and I was just like, let's just come on because people are talking. They got to meet each other. That's, again, part of the community thing. You know,
I
that we
think
try
that's,
to
I think you're
put
right about that.
together.
I like that aspect of that. It just
How many minutes in are we? 7?
It
Okay.
doesn't matter.
I
I like the fact that the people who attend the events end up walking away friends and coming back again, because I get requests for, hey, can you put me with so and so? Can you put me with that?
But another point that I wanted to
another
make was that I wanted to talk about.
But I love that. I love that people are making friends and that it's continuing, and then that they enjoyed themselves so much that they want that experience again with these people as well. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, Nicole was there. Hello, Nicole, Brianna, and what was her name? Victoria. So I remember some names some of the times. Still okay. And so that's part of the cool thing that we get to see on our end is that, you know, these people do meet each other and they become friends and they attend these events together and then they meet more people,
and they bring more people in
that come, and you know, these new people that come in, they don't know us. It's their first time coming to our event, and then they have a good time and they talk about coming back and telling people or whatever. I mean, it's just, you know, there were comments today from 3 or 4 people that were there. Katie, Megan, and Janet, I think. And they were saying great things and talking about how they want to come back and do it again. It is part of what we do and what we try to do. That's what, you know, the Para Unity Expo is part of that. New Jersey Paranormal is part of that. You know, all these paranormal groups don't get along. They can't get along. Whatever reason, it is what it is. But at least within our bubble and our community, we can try to make whatever difference we can with the people that are interested in the paranormal. And
Jason said he met his love because of us. I didn't know that.
you talking about me? I love you too, Jason. So you know, buddy. There, one of these for you, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
See that? You know what that is? Neither do I. Anyway, so hello, Donna. So Camp Evans, again, hot night. Building is air conditioned in some areas, but not a whole lot. You guys and your team do a great job of always a great time with NJP. You always feel like you are with friends. You are with friends, Brian. I mean, that's who we are. And anybody who like puts us on any kind of pedestal or thinks we're anything better or special, no, we never ever think of ourselves that way. We're ghost hunting with you. When we do our events, that's what we're doing. I mean, we're not we have been doing this a long time, and we do help people privately, and we do kind of, maybe we know more than some people, but not everybody that's with us. We don't ever think that. But when we're with you guys, we're trying to give you a little bit of knowledge, trying to give you a good time, make you laugh, enjoy the company of New Jersey Paranormal. And then we're all going out and just seeing what's in the building.
Yeah.
We do nothing different than we do at the Creeper Gallery investigation. We do nothing different than we do anywhere else. We're just with the people we're with, trying to communicate with the spirits in the building, and you know, and have a good time if we can, be respectful, and whatever happens, happens.
We love doing.
Hey, Taryn.
Listen, we're doing what we love with you, and we see how much you love it too, and I think that's why it's so fun seeing people's reaction and what they're getting, and then and they're involved, and some of them, I'm going to be the first one to say, some of you are extremely brave and very willing to be put into situations that I can't believe, and I'm so grateful for. And you guys amaze me all the time. I mean, it's just like I walk away from these events going like, wow. I mean, they trusted us to try something and be out of their comfort zone.
I'll tell you what, those waivers help. We should say the implied waivers, because they are implied when you purchase tickets to our events. I'll do anything now and would do nothing when I first started. That's the whole idea. I mean, God, Red Mill. That's
Oh
a long time
wow,
ago.
is that
Taryn.
when? That's right. Taryn
That was
said.
a long time ago.
Yeah, she said you guys rock and do an amazing
Taryn
job.
and I were best buddies from
I know.
the first time we met. We were.
I remember investigating with you guys before I knew who you both were.
It was like stepbrothers. We met each other and we were like, you know.
And I remember John walking away from that. This is funny, Taryn, because I didn't know it was you. I remember John saying when we're driving home, I had an interesting conversation with this woman sitting on the steps of this building or whatever. And he goes, and it was just changing of ideas and stuff, and it was really cool. So it's like the energy of stuff.
Deb, who's been with us many, many times,
yes,
and should be well bored of us by now, says always entertaining, educational, and
grateful that it's not boring.
Love investigating with you all.
We always walk away. I'm going to be honest with you. We walk away, heading home, looking at each other, and we actually say, "Was it good enough? Did we give them what they want? Did they all have a good time? Did they experience anything? Did they?" And we're talking to each one of the team members and asking, "Did anything happen with your group? Did they experience anything? Did they seem like they were having a good time?" These are the conversations that we all keep having. After so many years, you still find new things to bring to an event. Danielle, you're a part of that too. So again, Tanya has a uniqueness about her that just like blows my mind. When that woman gets involved in what she's doing, she's spectacular. This man, I can't say enough. I mean, like, I get intimidated when I'm with John. 100%, because he's so natural at what he does. See, he sits and he shakes his head, but with my reserve and me.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our private life.
Lord help me. Don't make me have another little jerk.
I was getting a little worried there. I was
water
like, hey, this is a family program.
No.
We're not talking about that.
John can be intimidating when it comes to what he does, because he doesn't understand how natural it is to him. There isn't a thought. It's like boom, 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 boom. For me, because I didn't want anything to do with this field, and I didn't want, I've got my walls up, and anybody that's investigated knows I'm the person that's like, no, you guys want the experience, I don't. And everybody knows that about me. I don't hide it, and I would never disillusion anybody. But it took me a while, one, to build my confidence to do stuff with people and to hopefully share my expertise or experiences on the side of what's real for me and what's not. This isn't, just giggles and laughs. That's part of it. But there's a fear factor for me, 100%. But what he does, Tanya's another natural person. It just comes to her without a thought. Where their brains go and what they put together, it's what?
All right, Nikki, guess who sells the tickets? That guy John sells the tickets to every event. So,
but the thing is,
you're going to move a little bit down that list, though. So
this is what's cool when you're in a group with so many different people. What Colleen brings to the table, she understands crystals and everything about them and why people are attracted or when they're not. And then you got Kenny, who's got his ability with memorizing history and stuff and being able to pull stuff out of somewhere all of a sudden and bring it to life. I mean, so there's all kinds of different things that happen that for me make me really, really to be a part of this with this group of people. It makes me happy, and it makes me, this is what brings me the enjoyment that I get. And then you mix in with you guys you guys always come in with an open mind, and it just blows me away.
Yeah. Deb says, I love John's ideas into the never tried before. I love trying different things and just see what happens. And some stuff works and some stuff fails. I've done a lot through the years where, I've tried things and what I thought were good ideas in theory, and yet with a group, not so much. And one of the things in general, I love experimentation, and I talk to different people about different things that they do and see if I like the idea of that or the concept of that. And one of the things, and I'll talk about it real quick because it really isn't going to matter to anybody but me, really. But the idea of, we were talking to someone, Robert talking to Robert, and I like Robert, and I bounce a lot of things off of Robert, and Robert has a lot of cool and neat equipment because he could afford
You
everything.
guys think alike too.
And Robert and I were talking about how, you know, the introduction to white noise and to anything may increase the odds of catching a voice, you know, because you're giving, you know, that static, the different sound waves and all that other stuff. And, you know, we were talking about that and saying, you know, trying an EVP session with it, without it. But going back a ways now, I used to do an experiment. And the reason I did this, because I had seen it on YouTube somewhere where people, you know, they did some weird experiments back in the day when they were parapsychology and all that. And they were testing mediums and all this other stuff. And one of the experiments that they did was similar to the Gansfeld, where they, you know, now everybody puts the spirit box on and they do the headphones and the blindfold and everything like that. But these people were putting headphones on, putting blindfolds on, and they were just introducing white noise into the person. Now, the idea behind that is that, again, you've taken away your senses, so you're not kind of bothered by the outside distractions. Your eyes aren't looking at anything. You're not really hearing anything but the white noise in your head, similar to kind of using a pendulum. You're an open channel pumping the white noise into you to see what the internal spirit box will hear. That is you. So when I do that, and I'm just going to say this for my own, and maybe it's because there's something wrong with me. I didn't rule that out. It entirely could be there's voices in there that I know are there. But when I do that, every single time I try that experiment, it's the only thing that scares me because I hear some internal dialogue that freaks me out. I feel almost schizophrenic when I try that because I'll put the headphones on, I'll blindfold myself, and I'll start the white noise, and I'm not going to kid you. Either. Within 15 seconds, I start hearing voices. And the first time I tried it, I actually did it in my car. I put a YouTube video on with just white noise, and I'm like, let me try this myself. I turned it up, I closed my eyes, and I kind of leaned back, and I just let my mind drift as I'm doing this. And I swear to God, within 15 seconds, and I kid you not, I heard a voice in my head say, "Can you hear me?" And
and then he called me freaked out.
I hit the video stop. I opened my eyes, and I was just like, oh my God, that is nuts. So then I've tried that with different people in different groups. Mark may have done it. Deb, you may have done it back when I was doing it at Burlington Prison. And people are like, I don't really. And I don't know, again, if it's the circumstances, if there's just too much, you know, you're in a building, you're concentrating on everything. But when I do that,
I think it takes a while because if you remember, it did it with you, but for whatever reason you were open to it. But when I did it at a certain place with people, because remember you helped me do that whole setup with a laptop where I had people, it takes a while for some people to get into that. Okay, now let me get myself down to and just listen.
I'm the worst at that.
Yeah, you are, but it just happened to be where you were just, it hit you and you were open to it for whatever reason. I mean, you can't control what you're, just kind of like when we do the other experiment, and I tell people, don't try so hard to listen because you're going to hear what you're supposed to hear. You know, don't force something. When you're forcing something, you're literally closing yourself off.
I heard tons of Camp Evans. Was it English? Okay. That question you asked, what's your name?
You're right, James. It wasn't. I think it was German or Russian.
iHeart said they're investigating the first time they'd ever been in. They're going to the Conjuring house. Any suggestions? I hope you're going with people that kind of know what they're doing. You know, you have some people in that group that know what they're doing. And my suggestion is, if you just, you know, be tuned into yourself. If you feel anything uncomfortable anywhere, you know, just kind of remove yourself, you know, for a while, go back in, see if you still feel uncomfortable. And if you do, maybe you shouldn't be going in there, continue to go in there. But open mind, you know, I've never heard of anybody really being affected there too bad. So, just hopefully you're with people that know what they're doing. If it's a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, then you probably should find someone who knows what they're doing and have them join you.
Yeah.
Just
if we ever used pink or cinnamon noise.
No, again, that stuff is, again, I'm all for experimentation, but the white noise, there's kind of
a theory behind it.
Yeah, so, but that goes back to the experimentation thing that Deb, I that's what got me into the haunted object stuff because, again, I know that, John Zaffis, haunted collector and blah, 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 and Annabelle doll. I knew all that stuff, but I was just like, man, can objects really be? People are selling these things on eBay and Etsy and all that crap, but I'm like, is this real, or they're just making up a story and attaching it to a doll, and they're finding some doll at a garage sale and charging $50 for it now because it has a story, and I just want to see for myself. So we started doing that, and man, lo and behold, I proved it to myself, and I like to give others that experience if I can, but I'm open to it. If anybody were to approach me and say, hey, we do this thing, try this thing, short of killing a goat and drawing a pentagram, then I'll give it a go.
Anthony Hopkins kind of experiments would be interesting.
I don't know what that means, Danielle, but
okay. You can tell us later.
Is that where we're going to dress up like Hannibal Lecter and have someone wheel us into
some fava beans?
Yeah. but that's about it. But back to Camp Evans. Camp Evans used to be a military research facility. Just Google Camp Evans. You'll see the whole entire history. Where New Jersey has an awesome article on Camp Evans. At one time,
hi Dana,
the KKK was there. Supposedly, there's a Native American burial ground. I know there were Nazi scientists that they brought in around World War II or after World War II that they brought in under the down low, as the kids say, and people didn't know they were there.
Exactly.
When we were doing our last investigation there, and I was in an area near all these radios that they use in combat, and I even mentioned the Nazi scientists. I had more interaction down this one little hallway that I've ever had.
Well, you talk about that.
And that's the one where you guys were.
Yes, and James and other people, when they had the headset on, were hearing another language, possibly German, Russian. And there was a gentleman that was in the group that, it was so funny because you gotta understand, we bring them into this area and there's no lights on, so they just have their little flashlights, so they don't get to see the full scope of what's around them, and that, which is a good thing, because then you're not clued in and you can't force feed something when you're not aware of what's around you.
Check it out during the day.
And it was funny because the guy came off the headphones and he looked up and he goes, and he didn't say a word, because we usually have people say what your experience is, and he didn't say anything the whole time, so we just assumed he didn't hear anything. He goes, I don't know why, but I heard this horn, but it sounded like a ship horn that you hear that's at port. And I was like, well, it's funny you happen to say that. And I flicked that big bright light that I have on. I said, look what's right up there. And there's the big sign. It was the Shipwreck Museum, was literally right behind the doors that were over there.
They've got artifacts.
They got a lot of artifacts
and
there.
That's cool, too, because, again, that just further shows you... sometimes when we go into historical buildings, Caldwell Parsons, I was just talking about that the other day, they get artifacts from different people donated to them. I mentioned this before. And in theory, you could bring something in that way. And when you're talking about Camp Evans, what she was just talking about, there's this whole room, shipwreck artifacts. Well, guess what? There may have been spirits before related to the facility and the research done there and whoever worked there before, but they may have brought in now a few more attached to those shipwreck objects.
Absolutely. Hi, Kathy.
And that's kind of a really interesting theory and thought, because let's say that that's real. Let's say it's possible to bring in spirits via objects into an area that already had spirits. Do they know that they're there? Do they exist in the same time, space, or when you're speaking to them, do they not know that the others are
Right.
around?
Is
if
it
they're
in
there?
layers and they're unaware?
It really is an interesting concept because, again, there are times where Camp Evans being one of them. Second floor, when I asked, you know, certain questions, and someone would say, "There's more than one," or "There's two of us," and like that person's telling me, "I'm not the only one you're talking to here. There's somebody else in this area here." Now, and they're also telling you, we exist at the same time here. You know, no matter, I don't know if they died together or if they died at different times, whoever these people are, but they exist intelligently in that building.
Yeah.
That's the interesting concept. So odds are they didn't die on the same day because there was never any horrific accidents there or explosions or murders or anything like that. So odds are these people passed at different times, yet they know of each other. That's really interesting.
Well, you talk about that second floor. There is a
She just takes my concept.
No, I'm taking in when you're talking about the different levels and the different spirits, but there's something else up there because Jim brought it up and he said it. Remember I said that he had experiences up there, and he actually called it Broomhilda. Did you have an experience with something up there that was why would they see like a Broomhilda looking like
I didn't hear anything about that.
witch old woman up there?
I'd never heard anything about that.
That happened to Jim.
What's her name? Gloria never mentioned it. So, I mean, they mentioned shadow figures, and Gloria, and mentioned a child.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like I was reacting with. And I'll tell you, I mapped a child a few times up on that second floor. Not only did I map it, it was one of the weirdest kind of mapping sessions that I've had. At first, kind of normal. She appeared on top of like a copy machine. She was hiding in one of the side rooms while people were in different areas. And it was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Expected for a child to kind of come and check it out and play around and mess with the different equipment or whatever. But then as I was mapping from where the office is down the other way, down towards the stairs, I can't remember which group this was. I don't know if there's somebody on who's part of that group. She would appear on one wall to the left 7 times in a row. She did the same thing. Appear here, she would scurry across the ceiling, get to the second wall, vanish. Appear here, scurry across the ceiling, go up on it. It was 7, 8 times in a row. Where I'm showing people like, this is bizarre. She just is going. And I've never seen that before while you're mapping something. It was just over and over and over. And a little figure. And it was really, really weird. But she kept saying, I don't feel well. She said she was tired. And, we're trying to again, figure out just, how she was there, why she was there. Might have been your group, Laura. And, you don't get those answers, unfortunately. Although you try for 4 hours, I try. But she was the one who told me there's somebody else. There's 2 of us. And then I should have what do they call those things now? Body cam? Because some of the crap we see even before the Creeper Gallery investigations and while we're setting up is almost as good or better than when people are there. I'm setting up, I'm running cameras, I got things going, and I'm looking at this big screen of a camera shooting down the hallway, and that's when I saw the shadow figure. All the way back at the end of the hallway, the lights were still on, so I got a real good shot of it. It went right across the very back into the hallway from one little area through another hallway. I saw it with my own eyes, just a shadow, large. He was as tall as me. And it wasn't Broomhilda, it wasn't a woman. This was a skinny, me, but a little taller. And nobody else was up there. But this is when you were setting up another part. Yeah. Tanya was there, Kenny was in the basement.
And we saw it later that night together. We saw a figure go down, and we thought it. And I actually walked all the way down the hall to see if somebody had gone down that other hallway, and there was nobody there. And we saw a person, clear as day, dark figure, you saw the arms moving and everything. Someone walking down the hall and just saw him turn the corner, and we both looked at each other like, yeah, no, there's got to be somebody down there. And obviously, I really believed it was someone because I walked down that dark hall, and I wouldn't do that if I didn't think otherwise. If I thought it was a spirit, my butt would have gone the other way. So I really thought it was a person, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, and David, I mean, I haven't read any of like John Zaffis's books. To me, he's like one of the greatest minds in the paranormal. But I didn't read a lot of paranormal books and studied that way. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and other videos of people that were prominent in the field giving lectures. I watched a lot of videos about paranormal theory, about different types of experiments, about experiments and investigative techniques that they used to do before there was any kind of equipment, and like the pioneers of the paranormal. So that's kind of the way I got started. I didn't really dive into books and reading all that much, but I just wanted to give myself a lot of different perspectives from different people, even mediums. And I'm not a big believer in mediums. I mean, I know the legit ones. I know enough that if I had to use a medium, I know a couple that I could call and say they're probably the real deal because I've seen it. They've proven it. But even speaking to mediums and getting their advice and getting their guidance from a different perspective from where I come from, the skeptic, all that helps you be a better rounded investigator.
You got to be open.
Yeah.
You got to be open to a lot of different things because once you close yourself off.
And you'll follow your own path. You'll learn a little from this one, learn a little from that one, and you'll adapt it to your own personal beliefs at first. But then you'll go way beyond your own personal beliefs as you meet others and experience.
You'll go outside your comfort zone. Is
For
what
sure.
You'll do.
There's no way you can't.
Yeah.
But anyway, up there, another thing again too with the anomalies that I keep telling people, the typical orbs, dust, that I kind of ignore. What I focus on, and a few people saw it, was the ones that manifest. These aren't coming from the side. These aren't flying from the top to the bottom. These are appearing in the middle of the screen and actually manifesting and kind of pulsate a little and then move. Those are the ones I really focus on. And then there was one in particular that this one did come from nowhere, a little denser, it was solid, and went up into the room that was adjacent to where I was. Flew around there for a while, went out into the hallway where the camera caught it, went real slow out there for a while. It wasn't a bug because it was moving way too slow because it would pause, and then it came back into the room that was next to me. This was no bug. Bugs don't fly slow, stop in midair, go a little further, go out a little. No way was that a bug. So really, really interesting. That stuff I love.
Can you please explain why there's so much talk on social media?
I don't want to get into that, Tim. It's really not. I like that show. Again, I think, like with anything in society, politics, anything, cooking, you name it, there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be people that don't like each other. There's always going to be people that badmouth each other for whatever reason, justified or not. It's just the way it is. And the paranormal field is no different. No different. In fact, it may be worse in some cases. So I don't know any of those people personally that are involved in any of those shows. We've met them. I'm friends with Chip Coffey. I'm friends with Amy Allen. But what goes on with the shows and the interactions between any of them, I have no clue. So I won't comment on any of it because I don't know enough to comment on any of it. I'm a fan of some of those shows. I watch some of them, but that's really about it. I don't get caught up in that. Besides, we run a convention, so I can't really talk about it.
So I heard that in the basement, that over in the very dark corners that you go down and around, that they heard a growl come out from over there. And then I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but you did. You said that Colleen said that people were actually seeing men's faces coming, which makes sense. And I'm sure nobody looked around, but there's down the hallway where John is, there's tons of pictures of the men that have been there. I mean, they're everywhere. So I wouldn't be surprised. And you said you got a soldier.
Yeah.
And there were soldiers that are lined up there. But that in itself was pretty cool. It would be cool to see who they were seeing, if they could have identified that was somebody that was in one of the pictures or portraits that they had there. But I don't think anybody really looked around after. And then the discussion of that there was in the I call it the bunkhouse. You call it the what?
That's what I call it.
Yeah, you call it the bunkhouse. I call it the barracks. You call it the bunkhouse. That there were a lot of EVPs and a lot of things that were coming forth out of the bunkhouse.
And again, I've been in there and never gotten EVPs. I got a lot of spirit pop stuff. I got some interaction with the equipment, but this is what I mean about different people, different energy. And to Tanya's credit, you know, when her and I were walking through that building before the event, they literally shut off. Yeah. They locked down the building that I had the most active part of the building that I had the most activity, which is in the back. There's a giant warehouse with a bathroom that's under construction. I had a lot of activity back there. They cut it off because they locked the door and they bolted it. So Tanya didn't have access. So I was going back and forth saying to her, you know, you sure you want to do anything in this building? Because I didn't get a lot of EVPs here. And where I did have interaction, is closed off to you. And she said to me, I've never been in here. Let me see what I get. Maybe the energy will be different with me. And sure enough, it was.
Yeah.
And I love that.
A great night
I love that. You know, because it stands to reason that any of us being in different areas at different times doing what we do differently can get a different result.
Yeah.
At any given time.
Myself and Danielle were in the museum hallway part, which you and Tanya usually get a lot of activity. It was a little quieter than what I've heard what you guys get there, but that didn't stop things from happening because we actually got a live. What do you call it when you hear a voice live?
Yeah.
Disembodied voice. Literally, we're all sitting there, and when a question was asked, we all hear, "Ooh," and it was like so fun. We all just like, wait a minute, was that someone's stomach? Was that someone's intestine? What made that? And we were all like, oh, and it was funny because it just happened to be that Danielle hit the recorder to record, and it caught it. So we actually heard it back that it wasn't in our mind. Yeah, that was, and we heard it. And there were a couple of people that when they had the K2 and it started going off, I said, okay, let's go through the checklist. Everybody's got their phones on airplane mode. Nobody has an Apple Watch, you know, blah, blah. Did you check around your area to make sure? But yet there seemed to be certain females that were getting reaction, that something was walking up to them. And not only was the K2 going on, but the atmosphere around them was changing. It got brutally cold for them.
Yeah, you brought up a point. Christopher asked, any contact from a spirit that was... Christopher, as it pertains to the Creeper Gallery, the answer is yes. At Camp Evans, I can't say anything specific, but I was in the radio room and getting a lot of interaction there. I just got back from an awesome strange... Oh, okay. Hope you had fun with that, Donna. Hey, Anna, how are you? Here's one of the things, and you just brought it up, that I tell people. My new thing, because I'm not getting possessed by Zach Baggins and Aaron now, but as I've gotten older and as I've done this more and more and more and more and more, sometimes investigating twice a week, every week, I do believe that I've become not sensitive in the sense of I can sense spirits around me and feel their feelings and all that other stuff. But I am sensitive in the sense that if there's a strong spirit, I don't think it's any spirit. I think a strong spirit present, that some of them can affect the way I feel, affect my mind a little bit, make me lose my train of thought. And it happened last night, and I was so happy that it just didn't happen to me. I'm sorry that it happened to Maritza, who I don't think is watching, but we were walking down the hallway, the stairs, and I was bringing people down there, and I stopped dead in my tracks because my equilibrium it was like my blood sugar dropped to nothing. I went, and I really did feel like I was going to pass out. And I stood there, and then my stomach cramped really bad, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" And Marissa's like, "Do you feel that?" And I said, "I feel sick." She said, "So do I. It's right here." I feel. She was standing 2 feet away from me, and I would bring everybody down there because that's what I do. I want to see, is it just me or can other people feel that? So every group from then on, and we were probably halfway through at that point, I would bring them to that exact spot and I would say, "What do you feel here?" You know, and some people felt a little something, something here and there, but nothing like what I felt and Marissa felt. And it's funny because that little girl said on the obelisk, "Don't feel well." And I think it was either her or somebody else just really making me feel horrible and that stuff. And I'll tell you what, when that happened, it was before the break, when you came up. When that happens, I literally said to the group of people that were there, I might have to remove myself. When it gets like that, even I get a little like, "You're not going to keep doing this to me," you know, because I now have to be there the rest of the night, you know? And I've already been, I don't know if that was attacked or just a jumping on, but man, when that happens once, you're like, "Hey, I want to pull the plug on this."
That's the hallway, and Jim, and if Mark was on there, because they were in that group when it happened. We know the tripwires and the colors. When have you ever seen the tripwires go steady red?
Yeah, you weren't in that group, Jim.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
If you ever seen the tripwires go steady red and hold that way for a while, they were in a group up on that floor on that section when that happened, and I didn't even want to go near the tripwires because it freaked me out. Yeah, red and Broomhilda. That was what make like the Broomhilda thing. And again, you think of Broomhilda, you know, we're talking about like a witchy old looking woman thing that was, you know, Jim saw it in his mirror facing. Remember that down at that I used to use that area down there in that room, but now they made it into an office. We go in there. That's where it literally went. And Jim's not the kind of guy that sees things in the mirror. He was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, he was just like,
That's a good point too, Jim. The attic, I usually go up there, and then Tanya would go up there. And what I experienced up there was 2 different energies as well. And one of them was a man who would say some really nasty racial stuff even. And Rachel got her hair pulled, but somebody down in that area kept referencing the ladder and high, or up. They kept saying up and the ladder. Up. I think they were kind of tempting me or wanting me to go up there and bring people up there. And I was like, but I do think, again, whatever affected me may have been coming down. I really do. Especially if I'd never been on that floor before and he had remembered me from being up there. Yeah, these are spirits. A closed door isn't going to stop them from coming down and traveling.
I got to bring the cards back and do because that was the night when Rachel got her hair pulled. The card said, "Look to the window. You were going to see a shadow, and that something was going to happen to a female." And Rachel was the only female in the group. Her hair got pulled, and you guys saw a shadow in the window.
Yeah. So again, now that we're talking about Camp Evans, October 14th, tickets are available for that event. I haven't released them. I haven't talked about it. I haven't done any promo video for it yet. But October 14th is really, again, we're getting down to the nitty gritty with even October. September sold out, but October, there is probably 9 spaces left for Kalani at the Mine, 4 spaces left for the Barron Arts Center, and now we're opening up the Camp Evans October 14th. So, again, we're doing all this talking. It's not to hype it up. It's not to, this is the stuff that happened. But October 14th, an October event, could be even a little more freaky that time of year. But if you want to come to that, New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com. And again, I urge you guys, if you're watching this and you follow us, make sure it's our event. It's on our website. It's on our Facebook. If it's not, it is not us. You know, people email me, I want tickets to this or that, and I tell them, not us, or we don't have anything to do with that place or that place or that place. So just if it's us you want to be with, just make sure it's us. Because there's other groups out there that have New Jersey Paranormal in their name. And, you know, if it's us you want to be with, just make sure it's us.
Oh, he should come to the one that Kalani's going to be at then, James.
Yeah. So tomorrow night,
Hi, Patricia.
depending on how Chris feels, but I am planning on going to the Creeper Gallery. I've seen pictures of some different objects that Donna has brought in.
Tom wants you to do that cross because he wants
the giant cross.
He wants it. It's a huge giant cross that has an attachment.
I mean, we could do that. I know there's at least one or two more. I mean, I've seen the pictures on the Creeper Gallery, but we will be going back.
Hi, Teresa.
And you know, that'll probably be 8 o'clock. So look for 3 new objects, and who knows what'll happen. Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. That's no events for us until July 23rd. But yeah, we'll be at the Bash, I think in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, maybe. I don't even know.
Yes.
The 14th through the 16th, we will be in Gettysburg, hanging out at the Wyndham for the Bash. Good cause, good event. And we'll be hanging around Gettysburg too, going to the restaurants. Any ex-girlfriends from high school, please refrain from visiting Gettysburg from the 14th through the 16th, because I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to go through that again. So please, the week after, week before, August is wide open for
Listen, I don't mind. It was entertaining for me to watch him.
I do not want to go through that again, so please.
Someone from high school show up. It was fun.
Creeper Gallery tomorrow night. No, actually, Tuesday night. Sorry.
Tuesday.
I keep thinking today's Monday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Creeper Gallery's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. So, yeah, tomorrow we're not going to do anything but recover and hang out. And,
wait a minute. Tuesday night? Isn't that 4th of July?
Is it?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday night, 4th? Then it's going to be Monday. It'll be Monday then. They keep confusing me.
I know you're going to Portland, Maine, so have fun.
It'll be, if 4th is on a Tuesday, then then
Tuesday's
Monday
the 4th.
night.
Yeah, we can't do it. We can't do
Monday
it that day.
I want to check the New Hope firework thing to see which day they're having the fireworks on. So I'll check that after we're done here. It'll be either or.
Yeah. We mapped in people holding a baby at Camp Evans before.
Yeah, that was cool.
We don't mention that other place though.
You may have fireworks up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we're gonna check.
Gonna do it.
We're gonna check New Hope to see when they're doing that. But
Their fireworks were held yesterday.
really, they're not doing anything on the 4th or the 2nd. I mean 3rd, Jay. I find that hard to believe.
Other people will be.
Yeah, but they're not going to be near that area. Anyway, I'll be there. I can't speak for other people who are trying to make excuses not to be there, but I will be there for you guys to investigate these objects because I enjoy being there. And
I was sick the one time I didn't
go. Week off.
And then I have doctors and tests that one day I didn't go.
You know what this is?
No, I've just
the
stayed
world's
in
smallest
facts.
violin. That's what that is.
Don't stress yourself. I want your fingers to fall off.
Hey, Ann, how are you?
Yep, the 4th. I'm not sure, but they advertised fireworks for last night.
Okay, they may be doing it in a couple. I'll check the website. Anyway, look for us, Creeper Gallery, next time we're on. We will be on, or I'll be on from the Creeper Gallery.
I'll be with you.
Thanks for watching, guys. Can't help but just. So we'll see you. It'll be Monday or Tuesday. I'll check the website now. But again, if you want to come to any of those events, October 7th is Kalani. There's probably 8 or 9 tickets left for that one. October 14th is Camp Evans. No tickets have sold. They're just being released now. October 21st is the Paranormal Center. And there's like 4 left for that one.
Wow.
All right. See you soon, guys.
Have
Thanks
a good
for watching.
night. Stay healthy. Please be safe. And please be kind.